Hi, Ron Heston here. Today is the third installment and final installment on my Thanksgiving series as written and produced by Ernest Holmes. This is from the radio show This Thing Called Life. It's entitled You Get What You Give by Ernest Holmes. We're all on the receiving line, wishing to get the most out of life. We wouldn't be normal if we didn't wish to enjoy living. For life is made to live. How could there be a song unless someone sings it? But sometimes we fail to realize that there's an exact law of life which tells us that in the long run we should only receive what we give. Suppose a person had a lot of love in his heart but refused to express it to those around him. He would soon become so bottled up with emotion that he actually would have a psychic or a mental or emotional congestion. Suppose a person were living with joy and had no way to express it. His very joy might become a burden to him. A person filled with joy must lavish it on others. He must share it with them. In this way, he multiplies his own happiness. Life has a place at the center of every man's person's being, an urge to live, to love, to create, and to find fulfillment and joy in happiness and in communion with others. Life is like a great force flowing through us, coming from a hidden source. It is this nature of a bird to soar and sing. It is the nature of a seed to burst with gladness of its existence. So it is with all gifts of life that we possess. They too are here to be used. But too often we wait for some great day to arrive or some big event to transpire that may become heroic figures in the drama of life. And just as surely as we do, this delay the day of our receiving, we have refused to give out such gifts as we already possess. If we have but one talent, we should use it. For in so doing, we shall uncover the other talents. And there is a talent we all possess, and that is the ability to be kind to others. In using this talent, we need not wait for any great event. For all around us there are those who are famished for the lack of just one little bit of human affection, just a morsel of kindness, just a bit of understanding, something that will make them feel that they too belong to life. People respond to our sincere and friendly approach and meet us halfway, giving back to us what we have given to them. Try this out someday, and when you're walking down the street, see what happens. Just look into the eyes of the first dozen people you meet, and catching their eye, scowl at them. I venture to say that the majority of them will scowl back at you. And the next dozen persons you meet, smile at them. And I will be willing to bet that the majority of them will smile back at you. Life is really a looking glass reflecting back to each individual an exact likeness of his own image. And we're all mirrors reflecting back to the other attitudes that they reflect to us. But just as life is a mirror in human relationships, so it is mirroring and reflecting the mind of God back to us when we open up our consciousness in love and adoration to the divine presence which surrounds everything and flows through everything. This is the purpose of prayer and meditation. We become filled with the infinite wholeness that it reflects in everything we do. But it is necessary that we give it out to others. In this way, our daily channels are kept clear, permitting life the great life greater than we are to flow through our minds into everything we touch, into what we say and do. The passageway must be kept open at both ends, neither dammed up where we receive life, nor blocked where it should be given out. Giving and receiving, this is the law of life. It is the way life is. He who would receive all must give all, and he who gives all will receive it. Every act of human affection and love, and generous giving and receiving of kindly relationships with others, is an extension of the spirit of life flowing through us. Life, the great giver, and each of us should be a distributor. This is the first great teaching of Jesus, that we should recognize this divine presence in everything and in everyone and in ourselves. The next great truth Jesus proclaimed is that there is a law of cause and effect which attracts to us those things we hold in consciousness. We shall experience that which we have faith in. We shall become like things we think about. These are the two most important things in the teaching of Jesus. There is a law of cause and effect which attracts to us those things we hold in consciousness, and we shall experience that which we have faith in. We shall become like things we think about. There are two most important things in the teaching of Jesus: law and love. He taught them in every parable. He explained them over and over to his disciples. He proclaimed them in the Sermon on the Mount. He made it clear that life gives all, that we are supposed to receive this gift of heaven, but we cannot receive them for ourselves alone. To receive this gift of heaven, we cannot receive them for ourselves alone. The gifts of life the gifts of heaven, but we cannot receive them for ourselves alone. The gifts of life can be multiplied only through our use of them. And so, we give, so shall we receive. And we believe it, so it will be done. As we think and expect, so shall we experience. The life and teachings of Jesus is an example of one who, having received all, gave everything away as fast as he got it. He used it, loosed it, and let it go. And because he did this, the loaves and fishes multiplied. Because he loved the world, learned to love him. Because he found God, countless millions have received comfort, hope, and assurance. Jesus delivered his oneness with God, and in doing so discovered that all people are with God. The things I do shall ye also do. And he discovered the great power that always accompanies faith and conviction. It was his high mission to prove before the world that there was a power of good available to everyone, and it is equally a part of his great mission to show that because we belong to God and are some part of life, we belong to each other. In telling us that we should give, Jesus never implied that we should not receive. Rather, his inference was quite the contrary to this, for his whole teaching was, we give only as we have first received, but that it is only as we keep on giving that we shall keep receiving. Jesus did not teach that our giving should impoverish us, but rather that it should enrich us. He said we ought to enter into the joy of life. He said that we should be whole, physically and mentally, because we're the first wholly spiritually. And when he said we should love our neighbors as ourselves, he did not say that we should hate ourselves because we love our neighbors. Rather, he meant exactly what he said. We should consider our neighbor equal to ourselves. As we give to him, we should also receive from him. Let us, then, accept these few simple facts, simple but as profound as life itself, for they contain the whole meaning of the teaching of the greatest, wisest, and most illumined man who ever lived. We have separated his teachings from the life we are living daily. We have thought he was talking about a future state when salvation would come of our having suffered in this world. But this is far from the truth. Jesus knew that God is everywhere. He knew there was a perfection at the center of everything, a wholeness. He knew there was a spiritual law of good available here on earth. Today the world is as good as you make it, or as evil as you think it. Today may meet with such love as you have given. Today you may enter into joy, happiness in yourself and with others, if you do not block its current through you. So we find him telling us that we should make a daily practice of communing with God. And when we commune with God, we shall receive inspiration from on high. And he said that when doing this, we use our faith, it will act exactly as a law of good, bringing to us those things we have faith in. Then he gave us step by step the way to do this. It was simple enough, so simple we've overlooked it. Believe that ye have, and ye shall receive. Give to you, and it shall be given to you. Love, and you will be loved. Daily, then, we should practice the divine presence, and this is done by the simple fact of affirming that the divine presence is here in us now. All that God has, all that God is, all that life can ever be is here and now. That is why we should affirm. And because this is true, we should affirm that the law of good goes before us and prepares the way. And we should expect to happen, knowing that there is no good to us alone. We shall give and give, not till it hurts, but through the very act of living and giving, all hurt is taken out of life. We should give faith until faith disappears. Give faith until fear disappears. We should give of hope and consider confidence and expectations and acceptance until failure forevermore departs from us. And seeing God in people and in things, we should court this divine presence, that to us it becomes one solid and changeless reality, a rock in the weary land, and a shelter to us in a time of storm. Now here's the meditation that he gave with that. Today I am receiving the gifts of heaven. Today I know that even as I ask, I shall receive. Therefore I meet life in joy and gladness. I expect to be guided and intelligently directed in everything I do. I expect to meet good everywhere I go, and love and friendship. Even as I expect to receive, I so desire to give. It is in my sincere desire that everyone I meet shall be blessed, that everything I touch shall be made whole. It is my desire that the joy flow from me in presence and in happiness, bringing a sense of well-being and comfort and assurance to those around me. Lifting up my own thought to the secret place of the Most High within me, I feel that I do receive a benediction from heaven, and with it the gifts of life, which I freely distribute. And I know that as I gladly give of myself to others, so shall something from them come back to me, to go out again, blessing and healing. And now may the presence of the great and divine giver become real to us, and the many gifts of heaven we received by us, that the good we possess may be shared with others. Again, this is by Ernest Holmes, what you get, what you give. Thank you and namaste. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I bless you.